You're watching the station that's working for you. Now, WMAR-2 News at 6.
Good evening and welcome into WMAR-2 News at 6. I'm Kelly Soup along with Jamie Costello. This is the first day of school. This one is for the record books.
You're not kidding. You're living through history right now. A majority of students across the state started classes virtually. The governor and state superintendent, Karen Salmon, visited 3 schools today in Caroline County. While most students were learning outside the classroom, this district did welcome back small groups of students for face-to-face instruction. And in the coming weeks, they plan to welcome more students back to the classroom.
It's just exactly what we've been talking about and envisioning, is this gradual return to public education in any way that we can. And I was just thrilled to see what Dr. Salins and her team have done here, and the Board of Education has been very supportive of bringing these students back. And I think today the governor got to see what what we hope is going to be possible in many other school systems in the coming days and weeks.
Now, earlier this month, the State Board of Ed voted to require school systems that have not developed a plan for returning any students for any in-person instruction until 2021 to reevaluate their reopening plans by the end of the first quarter. The governor's office says that 16 out of the 24 jurisdictions developed plans to bring children back to school in some form this fall. And students went back virtually in Baltimore City. And while the CEO admits there were some hiccups, she says it was a good first day.
Really, so far today, a pretty strong start, but knowing we're going to have to continue to support all of us. And a big shout out to teachers. Just the energy, the classroom, the preparation was just excellent.
And there is still time to apply for access to learning centers for Baltimore City schools. The centers are at schools and rec centers all across the city, and the program starts at the end of the month. About 1,000 students can use this program. You can find more information about applying on our website, WMAR2news.com. Well, the first day of schools is over, but the fight to get kids back in the classroom is just getting started.
Yeah, right now there's a rally outside of the Anne Arundel County School headquarters to get students back at their desk. WMAR-2 News' Eddie Kadam is there live tonight. So, Eddie, who have you been able to talk to so far?
Yeah, Jamie and Kelly, good evening. A lot of these parents and students telling me tonight that when they went back last semester for the end of the year, it was just they weren't ready, and they say that they're still not ready this year. Right now, this rally that's happening to reopen Maryland schools, they have the Star Spangled Banner playing right now, so we'll give that a minute to play out here. But a little bit more background. Governor Larry Hogan recently suggested that all Maryland school districts reopen because of a drop in positivity rate in key metrics. Here in Anne Arundel County, they headed back to school today, all virtual. The governor saying that he wants to see a plan in place for all districts to reopen by the end of the first quarter. I'm here now with Adam Wyndham, whose daughter is a special needs student. Adam, tell me, you've been kind of on the forefront of this fight to get students back in classrooms, especially your daughter. Why is it so important to you for in-person learning?
Absolutely. This is so important because no matter how much you individualize it, virtual learning simply does not replace that in-person support, in-person services many special needs students need.
Tell me, you've kind of considered maybe not putting your daughter back in school. What is this policy that you're looking into that maybe would mean that your daughter doesn't go back to school at Anne Arundel County this year?
Yeah, so I'm looking at what's known as a kindergarten waiver. I'm looking to sign that and just remove my daughter from the public school for this year and send her to kindergarten next year, because sitting in front of a computer just for attendance sake just takes valuable time away from me as her parent to provide that in-person therapy, in-person modeling she needs for communication and other in-person supports.
And you've reached out to every politician you could find an email for and everybody you could basically talk to. And what has the reaction been, and how has it been as a parent trying to fight to this is a difficult topic for everybody. Everybody has a different opinion on how things should work. But what has been the reaction from at least city officials about some type of hybrid plan for special needs parents at least?
Absolutely. So I've reached out to multiple local and state officials. And honestly, it just feels like you're talking to a brick wall. We've shifted the conversation a little bit. Special needs students are being talked about a little bit more, but there's still no meaningful plan in place for them. 2 hours a week at 3 special centers just does not cut it for what these kids really need.
Adam, thank you so much for your time. And again, we are live outside of the Anne Arundel County Public Schools headquarters here. There is a rally to reopen schools in Maryland happening here right now. The governor has put in place incentives for any districts that can open with some type of hybrid plan by the end of the first quarter. For now, live in Annapolis, Eddie Kadam, WMAR-2 News.
All right, Eddie, thank you. Well, this is not a normal school year. You figured that out. And while learning was virtual, teachers here at Havre de Grace Elementary got a chance to see many of their students in person today. They decorated up their cars and they drove all over Havre de Grace, beeping and waving as the students cheered and waved back.
And it is our hope that as they see our staff members drive by their homes and wave to them by practicing social distancing protocols, that they'll realize that they're truly missed and that they're loved.
How about that? The theme for the first day of school was opening day, so the teachers all wore baseball shirts and hats.
That's a great idea.
That's great, huh? All right, Pigtown's own Breaking Bread is open for business despite a literal run-in with a car over the weekend.
Yeah, this is a wild one. Investigators aren't sure if this was an accident or if the driver backed into the store on purpose. WMAR-2 News' Dave Detling has the video that you'll just see on one station.
Well, the good news, no one injured. I want you to take a look at the damage behind me. You can see the yellow caution tape, the smashed glass, even that broken chair. Here in Pigtown, the owners of Breaking Bread, despite all the damage, they want you to know we're open, Baltimore. Breaking Bread is back to serving up its sticky wings plus other menu favorites, despite a white Mercedes turning the Pigtown business into a drive-through Saturday.
It seemed like they backed up, and it seemed like they thought they had it in a drive, but it was still in reverse. Because of how they did it, it just came suddenly, and then they drove off.
Waiter Andre Pittman said he just said goodbye to two customers seated near the window.
I got scared when I saw the crash, and I immediately went out to check on the ladies that were sitting right here. They were well gone, and everything just kind of came down crashing on me. At first, I didn't believe it to be real. I was like, yeah, this isn't happening right now.
In fact, the driver who fled also hit 3 cars and a motorcycle. As for Breaking Bread, owner Kim Ellis says she's grateful no one was hurt, adding the business can be repaired.
When everything happened, that was Saturday. By the end of Saturday, we were boarded up and we're on to the next fire. We're on to the next issue, and we're thankful.
Thankful because her neighbors and customers have come out in full support, from helping clean up to ordering food. Now Ellis and her staff are ready to conquer the work week ahead and an upcoming celebration.
Today is Tuesday. We're on a new week, and my birthday is September 18th, and I will be 49 years old, and I'm going to look good, stress-free, all the above, so yeah.
As for the vehicle that caused all this destruction, police were able to track it down. The driver, though, still at large. If you have any information about this case, you're urged to give police a call. In Pigtown, Dave Detling, WMAR-2 News.
Well, police reform legislation was introduced tonight during Baltimore County Council's session. It is called the Smart Policing Act. It stands for Strengthening, Modernization, Accountability, Reform, and Transparency. Among other things, it includes a ban on chokeholds and neck restraints unless a life is at risk. The police department would not be allowed to hire officers from other agencies with past disciplinary issues. Baltimore County plans to soon launch a public dashboard that gives access to records on uses of force, police-involved shootings, as well as traffic stops.
Well, it's been a beautiful day across the area. We saw more clouds than we've seen over the last few days, and the temperatures were a little bit warmer, and of course the humidity also returned, but thankfully we remained rain-free across the state. Here's a look at the harbor, and you can see beautiful skies out there. A good mix of sun and clouds, although mostly cloudy at the moment. 83 degrees with a light breeze out of the southeast at about 6 miles per hour. Those dew points have been elevated today. We're at 65, so it's feeling a little uncomfortable at the harbor, but not overwhelming. While temperatures, well, they're going to be dipping into the 60s as we head into the overnight hours, where most of us wake up in the mid to upper 60s. More clouds, though, as we head into the day tomorrow. Temperatures will warm into the mid to upper 80s, but I also think we'll see some rain chances trickling in. I have the latest coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Patrick. 75 years after D-Day, and they're still fighting to honor a veteran for his bravery on D-Day.
What's being done to give one man the recognition he deserves?
Plus, not all restaurants can survive on carryout and curbside alone. What some are doing to stay in business as they try to figure it out. How to rebound. You're watching WMAR-2 News at 5 or at 6.
Here at WMAR-2 News, we are the voice for veterans. Now, Maryland representatives are working to posthumously award a World War II veteran with the Medal of Honor. Corporal Waverly Woodson was an Army medic credited for saving dozens, if not hundreds, of troops on D-Day after being struck by shrapnel himself. He was awarded the Bronze Star for his heroism. He passed away 15 years ago, but his wife Joanne and now lawmakers are still fighting to get him recognized with the Medal of Honor. Well, today they held a press conference announcing bipartisan legislation to authorize President Trump to award the medal.
We want to have a legacy for our family, and it is now the time to right the wrong, and it can be done. He deserves it, and I just keep going. I think that we have to keep history alive.
Now, this isn't the first effort. Senator Chris Van Hollen and the Congressional Black Caucus sent a letter to the Army requesting an upgrade 5 years ago. It was denied. Senator Van Hollen says because of insufficient documentation. To see more of our Voice for Veterans stories, I head to our website at WMAR2news.com. Then just click on the tab at the top of the page that says Voice for Veterans.
All right, the clock is ticking for our restaurants all across the land. They are desperate for another round of aid from the federal government. An estimated 16,000 have permanently closed since the COVID outbreak began. And as Chris Conti tells us tonight, others are doing whatever they can in hopes of making a rebound.
We are turning 50 in February. Fingers crossed.
One shoulders a special sense of responsibility when your family's legacy is on the line.
Because we were always such a busy spot.
And what's at stake for Carrie Coulser is more than a paycheck.
We're not going to get over this virus like overnight.
Her parents first opened Grendel's restaurant. Sitting in the shadow of Harvard University, it's been a fixture in this neighborhood since 1971. With students sent home back in March, though, things have been quiet. She's run out of PPP funding and running on empty.
The dominoes are going to fall. I mean, without some kind of support, some kind of stimulus, all facets of the economy are going to struggle, and it's just needless. We have our Grendel's face masks.
Like restaurant owners around the country, this 50-year-old has tried to get creative, from outdoor screened-in pods for dining to a new line of to-go cocktails and trail mix.
I needed to better blend our Mayan mix.
But Carrie knows mixed drinks aren't going to keep her afloat forever.
We need more forgivable loans.
Politicians in Washington are at a stalemate over another round of funding, something especially troubling to Carrie, who saw an immediate impact from those first round of stimulus checks.
The moment people started getting their unemployment stimulus checks, we started to see an uptick in business. The minute they went away, we saw it fall down.
The restaurant industry is in a really unique challenge right now. We were the first industry to be shut down by state and local governments. We're going to be the last to fully recover.
That's Sean Kennedy. He's with the National Restaurant Association. His group has been lobbying Congress hard for any kind of funding to help restaurants on the brink of collapse.
What's clear is that we need a more long-term, far-reaching approach from the federal government, or businesses like restaurants are simply not going to be able to survive.
Historically, restaurants have the lowest amount of cash on hand compared to any industry in the country. Most restaurants only have enough cash to get by for 16 days. And nationwide, more than 100,000 restaurants have had to shut down for a second time.
We've lost more jobs and more revenue than any other industry right now. That needs to be a big alarm bell here in Washington.
We really will need to have some assurances that we're going to get some kind of government assistance.
Until that time, though, Carrie will keep trying to reinvent a recipe for survival, knowing her family's legacy is on the line. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, I'm Chris Conti.
And to help you navigate this time, we have a Facebook group. It's called Rebound Maryland. You can stop in there for discussions on issues that are impacting you the most.
Now from WMAR-2 News, Maryland's most accurate forecast.
And we've been under the influence of high pressure for the last few days for the most part. And that's why we saw so much sunshine and we saw comfortable numbers as winds were generally out of the north. And that started to shift, and then we started to get more of a south and an easterly component. And that's why we've started to see the dew points creeping up. But that southerly flow is going to continue as we head through the next couple of days. And that's going to bring in some rain chances. But for now, 82 degrees, looking mostly cloudy at the airport, winds out of the east at 7 miles per hour, dew points at 67, so feeling a little sticky but not too uncomfortable. Numbers falling into the 70s as we head through the next few hours, keeping partly cloudy skies in the forecast, while temperatures, well, eventually they're going to tumble into the 60s for most of us, so that equals a comfortable evening with only about a 10% chance of a sprinkle. As we head into the day tomorrow, that's where we start to see those rain chances increasing, especially for areas along and south of I-95. Could see some of those showers. They're going to be light in nature, so not expecting a major production throughout the day. But turning into Thursday, we could see a couple of isolated thunderstorms. We're looking at a very low risk for severe weather. Nonetheless, it is going to be one of those dreary days where the clouds will be in place throughout most of the afternoon. The good news, looking ahead, once we get past all of that instability, we will see a cold front slide through, and that's going to bring some cooler temperatures back to the state of Maryland just in time for the weekend. So let's get you through the next 24 hours where we're watching this front. It's a stationary front that doesn't move a whole lot over the next couple of days, essentially centered over the Ohio State and portions of Pennsylvania and New York, but we're looking at showers and thunderstorms starting to move into portions of North Carolina and Virginia associated with that tropical disturbance. That energy is going to eventually start to lift northward, and that's where we'll start to see those rain chances for the afternoon and early evening. Notice you don't see a whole lot of the yellows and reds in the state, mostly just a light green, and that's going to equal some light drizzle to some decent rain as we head into the afternoon and the evening. The clouds will continue to be present into Thursday. So walking out the door tomorrow, be prepared to see some of those isolated showers if you're in along 95 or south. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at temperatures in the low 80s for the afternoon. By Thursday, more clouds. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer, and I'm expecting to see some showers and thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon once the atmosphere gets a little agitated. We'll be tracking that through the 5 o'clock hour. Once we lose the heating of the day, we'll start to see those showers and storms start to taper off a little bit, and temperatures, they're going to dip back into the 70s. Now, we're watching the tropics where we have one system that's off of the coast that could develop over the next few days, and then we're watching Paulette and Renee, both tropical storms that are forecast to eventually curve off towards the north and not have any major impacts to land. 7-day forecast with the weekend in view shows that cooler numbers arrive as we head towards Friday and Saturday into the 70s. Chance of showers returns for your Sunday. Looks like the rain starts to exit out early Monday morning. We're looking sunny on Tuesday.
All right, thanks, Patrick. All right, libraries are starting to reopen in some areas. On September 21st, Carroll County will reopen its branches for limited in-person service. All patrons must wear a mask and practice social distancing. And in Anne Arundel County, you can already set up in-person appointments at any of the system's 16 locations. You can bring in books, you can browse, you can check out the movies, you can take out books and music for yourself. For more information on how to set up an appointment, just head to our website at WMAR2news.com. The library is still, though, offering curbside pickup.
Well, you mentioned it, books, and here we go. For the past few years, and with your help, we have been able to put books in the hands and homes of many area children. And despite the twists and turns of 2020, we're continuing our third year now. If you give a child a book campaign, here we go. This happened in the year 2020.
It's hard to believe, huh?
It is hard. It is hard to believe. We handed out books back in January, and now we're at it again. WMAR, the Scripps Howard Foundation, and Fulton Bank are teaming up to bring books to our children. Some who don't even have a book to call their own when they go home. So you can donate, and we'll match it with the Scripps Howard Foundation. So head to WMAR2news.com/books for more information. Months of protests across the country, millions marching with messages about a need for change. And while critics called some of the demonstrations riots, we're going to take a look at how many were actually peaceful. New tonight at 11. All right, grab your mask and your shopping bag and get ready for one of the biggest sales of the year in Baltimore County.
Yes, in Timonium at the annual sidewalk sale at the Clearinghouse. This is the 30th year that they've put on this sale. You'll find just about everything from jewelry to linens to decor and furniture. 100% of the proceeds will go to the House of Ruth, which helps victims of intimate partner violence. The owner of the clearinghouse says that she knew they had to continue with this tradition even in the midst of a pandemic.
I feel that because it's outside, we'll be spread out, we'll all be wearing our mask, and it's just something that's near and dear to my heart and to all of my staff at the clearinghouse. And it's nice to talk about something positive right now that's really happening.
The sale starts at 10 a.m. People line up for it. Look for the big white tent on the side of the clearinghouse, which is off of Padonia Road in Timonium. They only accept cash, and checks will be accepted as well. Check it out.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's all for us. You can always get the latest news online at WMAR2news.com.
Yeah, World News with Dave Muir is up next, and we'll see you at 7.